Hello everybody, welcome to our introduction lecture for our class 2450, Consumerism, Its Impact and Issues. So we're going to discuss what we mean by consumerism and what we're going to be basically looking at for the entire semester. So consumerism is the actual noun definition is the protection or promotion of the interests of consumers, hence the term consumerism. But also, and it's more commonly known as, the preoccupation of society with the acquisition of consumer goods. And that's what we tend to look at. That's what people tend to think of with the word consumerism. And that tends to get associated with American culture for people living in the US, when a lot of people globally and, in the other parts of the world, as well as people here in the US, how they see inhabitants of the US are very into consumerism culture because of our capitalist economic society. So we need to look at some terms and understand consumption versus purchasing and consuming versus the overall consumption. So consuming is usage or physical exhaustion of something that's material or a material thing. So actually the usage, just the physical using up, if you use up an eraser and you use it all up, that's consuming the eraser. If you bought a Panda Bowl, so sorry, I'm really hungry, but if you bought a Panda Bowl at Panda Express and you ate it all, you used it all up, right? At the end of your meal, there's nothing left in the bowl. You consumed it. Consumption, even though it's a very similar term and it derives from the same origin, it means much more than that. It means the selection, adoption, the usage, it includes the usage, but also the disposal and recycling of goods and services. So it's the whole scope. So we look at the whole scope, and we will be for the entire semester, because that's going to dictate what you buy, how much you're willing to spend, how often you'll buy it, how long you're willing to use it, etc. So it'll justify purchases versus getting you to not want to buy something. Now, the purchasing itself is acquiring a good or service by paying for it. And sometimes you use things that you paid for. Sometimes you use things that you didn't pay for. Someone gave it to you. And sometimes you pay for things that aren't for you. They're gifts. Okay, so all those are factors and play a role into justifying purchases. So things like, should I eat a salad or should I have, a triple cheeseburger? Please don't. That's so bad for you. But anyhow, limit to a double, I think. But, should I eat healthier? Should I have that triple cheeseburger? Sometimes it's the price point that's going to dictate, but also convenience, which one has to drive through, or which one's closer to you so you drive less, or within walking distance, things like that. You want to buy a gift? Should I get her a nice dress, or should I get her a family trip with this? Would she enjoy this better versus a dress? Wearing, you're quite, should you go more casual, more formal? Should you go more career oriented, or should you go more formal, or should you be more casual? So these are questions that you have to ask yourself. Now we're going to be looking at a broad range of items that we use and services that we use. So traditional goods like food and clothes, right? Very, very basic, but also services, massage, pedicures, manicures, servicing, let's say, your mountain bike. So these are all different sort of, things for your car. Let's say you're fixing up your car. Experiences like going to the movies and traveling, and emotions, things like, flowers, engagement rings, birthday cards, for example. Now, there are core products that offer basic benefits. So, you need to eat. So you buy food, you need a drink, you buy, a Red Bull, or you need to live, you need to survive, you need to function with caffeine, so you get a Red Bull. But it provides basic benefits. Now, the actual product, so you look at the core product, you look at what benefits you get from it. The actual product, you do look at the appearance, sometimes the brand matters, the quality, the features, the benefits. And the augmented product is the instruction, installation, credit, warranty, customer support, or maintenance. So it's all these extra things that come with the purchase. So there's the actual product itself with the basic benefits that you're going to look at. But then you can also look at the product, like packaging might be pretty, or the color's nice, or, it offers extra features that the other option doesn't have. And then there's more, like it has a warranty, lifetime warranty, limited warranty. You can buy it with your credit card. It comes with a maintenance plan, customer support, things like that. Okay. So when it comes to consumerism, a big thing we look at is affluenza. So what is that? It's an unhappy condition of overload, debt, anxiety, and waste due to the dogged pursuit of more. So the idea is that you're constantly buying more, and you buy, and then you want more, and you still buy more. Many people do suffer from it, but a lot of people are unaware of it. Some people are, but a lot of people are unaware of it. And what we're noticing is they're spending more, enjoying less. Now, what I want to stress is that not everybody suffers from affluenza. Some people will literally lump everybody. Oh, well, all Americans have this. Everyone's materialistic. That's painting everybody with a really broad brush. So I'm not comfortable doing that because not everybody is that materialistic. It comes in various degrees. So we'll be talking about that. But those that are suffering from affluenza, definitely common patterns are spending more, enjoying less, having more things, and yet feeling empty. So there are many consequences. You go into debt. You don't have the money to buy the things you do need. Your family can suffer. Environmental, we'll talk a lot about the environmental consequences to that as well. Packaging, you create a lot of trash from all the purchases that you make. I mean, just think of everything that comes in a package when you buy, order from Amazon. So this is an interesting quote I wanted to share with you. Ellen Goodman is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, and she said, "Normal is getting dressed in clothes that you buy for work, driving through traffic in a car you are still paying for in order to get the job that you need so you can pay for the clothes and car, and the house that you leave empty all day in order to afford to live in it." So that's painting a picture of you buy all these clothes for your job that pays you, that you're trying to get for the other job that'll pay for everything that you've already acquired in debt. And you have this nice big house, you want to pay for it, but you're not home, you're not there to enjoy it. And I see this a lot. I do live by a very wealthy set of homes, mansions, and most of the time when I walk my dog in the evening, I now walk her in the morning, but in the evening, they're always empty. There rarely is ever anyone there. And I always feel bad because it's a shame they're working so hard, they're not enjoying their beautiful home, and they're gorgeous, they're big, but no one's home to enjoy it. So why is this happening? Why do we even notice this? So advertisements, marketing makes things look beautiful and makes us want more. That's the whole point of marketing. We'll dissect it, but it's basically wanting you to buy more. The image, and social media plays a really strong role because everybody wants to be like everybody else, even though we keep saying we want to be individualistic and we're different, but you're trying to copy everybody else without even knowing it. And you see people with their stuff and you're trying to imitate that. Keeping up with, we used to be keeping up with the Joneses, which is your wealthier neighbor. So it was somewhat attainable. There's always that neighbor in the neighborhood that was a little wealthier, had the better car, nicer yard, nicer house, and people were trying to strive for that. But the problem is that was a constant version to try to achieve, and it was somewhat attainable. But now it's like there's always new versions of everything. You can't keep up with those that are super wealthier than you. And there's new versions with everything. There's a new car every year. There's a new model every year, and now new versions of the video game and the computer models and the cell phones. It's like every 6 months something new is coming up. So it's just new version. How can you keep up with that? And it very easily becomes an addiction. So this you can read, but this is the ideas that what we're going to look at throughout the semester in terms of studying consumers. So we're going to look at the psychology, we're going to look at actual behavior, we're going to look at what helps aid in marketing decisions, how companies play a role, what's the role of the consumer, the role or how much access we have to information or limitations to information, how we process the information that's available to us. What motivates, what motivates a consumer to buy or not buy something? What can help pique the interest? How marketers adapt to this? Just a couple of facts. Again, you can read these, but this is just so you can see just consumption pattern, usage. So Americans use 1/3 of the world's paper, 1/4 of the oil, 23% of coal, 27% of aluminum, and 19% of copper. And 99% of stuff that people in North America buy is trash within 6 months after purchase. That is from the American Consumer Society. I'm not 100% certain it's 99%, but it's definitely a very large percentage. A lot of things are thrashed and we constantly rebuy. We are targeted by a lot of commercial messages, and I'm not talking just like TV commercials because you get advertisement in all different forms now because of the web and, through your social media and through your phone. But they're constantly targeting young people. Now, it used to be like up to from 560 per day in the 60s to, it's up to about 2,000 commercial messages potentially. So that's a lot. And they're constantly striving to target young people. They're going after young people. Other interesting facts, we'll talk about debt and personal purchase patterns, but if only minimum payments, which is 2% of a credit card bill are made, let's say, for example, a $1,000 charge, it can take almost 20 years to pay. That's a lot. So it's going to cost more than $2,300 in interest. You'd pay $3,300 total. So it's an estimated 40% of American families annually spend more than they earn. So they're living beyond their means. And just so you can get a visual, these are pictures of people. They were the families that took everything, all their belongings outside of the home. Okay, and this is from Material World. So this is a family. Pay attention to the number of members of the family and their items. So this is obviously here in the US, and there's a family of 4, and this is what they have, or at least almost everything. Then you have this. Notice the number of family members: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 family members, and this is what they own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is what they own. So are you noticing a pattern? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that's all that they own. So just get a comparison. So it also matters, obviously, the number of family members. Things that we'll be noticing and we'll talk about, just things how keep getting bigger, right? So in 1950, the average new home was 983 square feet. In the middle of the first decade of the 2000s, the median average home size was 2349. So look how much bigger these homes are getting. Vehicles per people, look at that. U.S. by far beats every other country. We have more vehicles per 1,000 people. And if you take a look at people's driveways, I see a 4-car garage, and I'll see like 3 cars in the garage. So either you have 3 cars in there plus an additional 3 cars, or the other thing could be you're not using the garage for cars, you're using it to house all your junk, or all your stuff, I should say. I shouldn't say it's junk, but all your stuff. So either way, you have a lot of stuff or a lot of cars. Also, something we've noticed, the values are changing. So contrasting values. So we used to believe in the 60s, late 60s, developing a meaningful philosophy of life was more important, but that definitely has dropped going into the 2000s, and being very well off financially has increased. So last couple of things, competitive acquisition. This is the base of including quality in a product, but in the 20th century, people are primarily concerned with the trendy product and what the elites are using and trying to emulate that. So that's what we notice, is that we've seen an increase in competitive acquisition. So instead of just looking at the quality of the product, we're looking at if the elites are using it, and that's how we're adding that value, and we're trying to get that to emulate that. Now, something that's interesting and ironic about this, believe it or not, most millionaires lead frugal lives. They don't showcase their wealth. I'm not talking Hollywood millionaire, but I'm talking the average millionaire. Many others, they associate their personal identity with what they own or acquire, but a lot of millionaires, they lead frugal lives. They really do. You wouldn't know how much money they had by what you saw. My husband's grandfather was a millionaire. He had over $1 million in assets. He drove a silver Honda Civic up to very late in his age, mowed his own lawn, had a members only jacket, and you wouldn't know he was that wealthy. You just wouldn't know by just looking at him. But others, they want to show off their wealth. And that the problem, I think, the biggest one is that swollen expectation, because social media, you see everyone shows off what they are doing and how everything's exciting. And the source of comparison has shifted. Instead of, again, keeping up with the Joneses, which is more realistic, we're doing a kind of keeping up with the Kardashians. You're trying to emulate people that just make way too much money. So before, if you wanted to buy a barbecue grill, you'd do this, right? Like a typical Weber, charcoal, a little propane one. But now we're looking at this. Well, hello, that's very expensive. And everyone wants an outdoor entertainment area because you entertain. I'm not sure what you're doing. Are you doing a show or something for your people, but for your family members and friends? But keeping up with the Kardashians, I know people that will go eat at Beverly Hills and go to places that the Kardashians, whichever one was seen in, but you don't make Kardashian money. So that's emulating people that are way out of your economic league. So this leads to working longer to try to make more money, and then you're exhausted, and stress will do that. Anxiety, insomnia, headaches, back pains, high blood pressure, depression, all that is displayed. And we're seeing an increase, especially the more you're on social media. I'm telling you, studies keep showing that you have higher likelihood of depression. So we are, and it's not all like this, we are seeing it's a slow moving trend, but it's coming up. It's downshifters. So some are involuntary. They have to cut down hours because a family member's sick, but we are seeing voluntary downshifters. They're reducing work hours. They're taking the lower income and they're spending less in order to spend more time with family, to what's more important in life. They want a slower pace of life, more time with family. And we actually find downshifters in all income levels, which is interesting. And now this trend of minimalism, simplification. So we are starting to see that decluttering. We are seeing tiny homes, right? These tiny homes that are coming up now. Micro apartments, micro units. We'll be talking about those but those are small, 300 square feet. We're actually looking at even smaller, but they're getting smaller and smaller. So we're noticing this. So these are just some things that we're going to be looking at. Again, the economics, the anthropology, the internal, external influences, social influences, micro and macro, the geography, history, basically all the parts to it. Also, I asked for you to kind of ask yourself, like, how often do you think about it? Okay, because I'm going to be asking a lot of these questions throughout the semester. How often do you go to the mall or shop online or shop at a store? How long do you stay in a physical store? How often you visit online? Do you browse? Do you shop? Do you just put stuff in the cart and take it away? How much money do you save? Do you put things on the credit card? Do you have debt? Do you ever worry about your credit card bills? Or debt? Do you have items with tags still sitting in your closet that have been sitting there for 6 months? These are things that I want you to start looking at. Start looking at your closet. Start looking at your room and what you have, and start looking at what you're using. Because the best way to look at potential consumer patterns is to look at your own. Okay, so do a self-analysis. So there'll be a lot of self-analysis, journal reflection, writing assignments and stuff like that, and your homework assignments, so that you really understand yourself and be able to look at someone else's patterns. So thank you so much for listening, and till next time.